Don Taco's new Volksstrum. The Volksstrum, I watched this documentary a while ago, and I didn't realize, I did not realize that at the end of World War II, when stuff was getting hectic in Germany, like, they were like, you know, should we give up? That's the thing about Hitler and the people that say anything decent. Like, that dude chicken shitted out at the last minute. What a punk. I mean, horrific person. Horrific. But even the way he went out, what a bitch. Shoot, we're not a minute in. I gotta watch my language. Sorry. But Don Taco has a new Volksstrum. I had to look up that word because I forgot what they called it, but in this documentary that I watched, it said that towards the end of World War II, basically not anointed. What's the word? Deputized? I don't know what the word is. Is it deputized? Anointed? I forget. When you like have the authority to, like, what would the word be? Deputize a militia? I don't know. But essentially, the Volksstrum was a militia in Germany at the very end of the war, where they opened up. You know, usually these armies want men that are fighting age, whatever it is, 18 to 40, I'm guessing. And towards the end of World War II, old Adolf, he was like, you know what, 16 to 60. We'll take anybody from 16 to 60. Well, we're going to open the ranks a little bit. And that's what happened. And they called it the Volksstrum. And I included a link down below to the Wikipedia article of the Volksstrum, so you could read about it for yourself. And again, I had to like Google because I forgot what it was called. And I honestly thought it was younger than 16. I don't remember what the documentary I was watching. There's a few of them. There's some on Netflix, some on YouTube. There's a few YouTube channels that just do documentaries. And I think then like mainstream TV repurposes them. Because I swear I've seen some documentaries on YouTube where I'm like, didn't PBS do this? But they're always great to watch, and you get, you know, different ones feature or focus on different little facets of these wars or these historical periods. And as soon as I seen the article that came out yesterday or today by ProPublica, which if you can support ProPublica, I'm not in the position to. That's what churches should do. You know, if you believe in Christ, you go to a church, they'll tell you to tithe, put the money in the basket. It's how the lights stay on. Jesus wanted it that way, or whatever they tell you. Joel Osteen needs a private jet to spread his word. Joel Osteen needs a new pair of shoes, and they ain't gonna pay for themselves and put the money in the basket. I'm sure it's all virtual now. But if you believe in a certain God, believe in Christ, like I do, but then you go to a church where they ask for money, which I think, you know, churches should be taxed, only because Jesus paid his taxes. That usually goes to fund the church. And I think that churches should be now saying, support ProPublica. Instead of tithing this month, you know, send some money to ProPublica so they can keep doing the journalism they're doing, because they do great work. I don't think I've read too many stories from ProPublica where I went, I gotta research this. I gotta see who's funded this one. But the ProPublica article I linked down below details, what's his name, Thomas Fugate? Oh, imagine if his last name was Thomas Fugazi. That would only be perfect. But Thomas Fugate, the guy put on the thumbnail, 22-year-old who is now in charge at the Department of Homeland Security of the terrorism prevention in America. There's a 22-year-old in charge, folks. Now, forever and a day, I've said, you know, these 79-year-old, 80-year-old politicians need to be vanquished. We need to force retirement on any politician over the age of 55. I think 55 is like a good age to be like, all right, you gave it a good run. Let's get you out of here. Let's get some new blood in here. Somebody who understands what TikTok is and the Wi-Fi password. But 22 to lead America's counter-terrorism unit. I wasn't expecting that young and that high of a position. And if you're wondering, well, how did Don Taco, Heather, what's up? We are doomed. Thank you. We are doomed. If you're wondering, how did Taco Don find Thomas Fugazi, the fake diamond? How did he find this University of San Antonio student to lead the terrorism prevention here in America? Department of Homeland Security. How did he find it? Well, you wouldn't have to look far. You could say, well, the right-wing think tank, the Heritage Foundation, he was like a coffee boy there. Or, I don't know, he did like a summer camp there. I'm not sure what he did. He's 22. What much can he do? Recent college graduate, worked for a bunch of right-wing organizations. He worked for the Trump campaign, and now he's been lifted to a 6-figure job, which I'm sure his degree was not in counterterrorism. I don't know if he can't even rent a car. Oh my God, Alma, the things you can't do at 22. You can't even rent a car, and this bitch. How is Thomas Fugazi gonna go to different cities? And if you think about America, just since Trump's taken over, we've had one huge domestic terrorism attack a month at least. But ProPublica kind of defines the two avenues they think this could be. They think either one, he put Thomas Fugazi in this position as a fall guy, meaning like something, he knows that this guy is unqualified, something horrific will happen, and Donald Trump will declare martial law. One theory. The other theory is that, this fall guy, well, I think he's a fall guy in all the, I don't think there's a scenario where they're like, oh yeah, this is going to succeed. And then what was the other scenario played out where I forget. I know one was a fall guy for martial law, and the other was to basically funnel any kind of Department of Homeland Security policy to adhere to protecting America, to redirect that to just be a MAGA institution, so it could just do what he said. That's why he put this kid in power. But I'm thinking he's a fall guy all in all. Thomas Fugazi, the University of San Antonio, which if you've seen his, I didn't want to post the thumbnail of his official federal photo, he's a Fed photo, because he did this one eyebrow up thing. I can't do, where he's just looking like a jackass, like he took a senior photo. But this dude, either way, he's a fall guy. He's not meant to succeed. And I don't know how long he's been in the position, but there's been domestic things happening all around us in America, and he's not preventing them. And now that Alma, thank you for pointed out, he can't even rent a car. It's like, well, I mean, if he's got to travel to different cities to look into these white supremacists, which he's probably friends with, conflict of interest. If he's with the right-wing think tank Heritage Foundation, I'm sure they got some dark money that we can't trace going somewhere. Yeah, and that's the other thing, Alma. Obviously, if he's 22, he was born after 9/11, so I just think he's unqualified for this position, and I've always been a staunch supporter of young folks getting their foot in the door. But I think young folks should get their foot in the door and have to work their way up, not be the head of counterterrorism right away at 22. I mean, you just don't have, I know 22-year-olds. I work with people that are in their 20s. My daughter is in her young 20s. I mean, I know them. And listen, Gen Z or whatever they are they Gen Z? I'm not sure, but they're around Gen Z, and they are more nervous, they're a little more nervous. They're not as hardened as, the Gen Xers who were latchkey kids. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying we created a society that has made them not be able to purchase a home. They have to do pay now or buy now, pay later for groceries, and the world is just collapsing in on itself. So I understand them. He probably doesn't even know what 9/11 was or about, Heather. It's horrific that a kid at 22 would head up the counterterrorism unit for America. Because America, this is very serious. I mean, we still have homegrown white supremacists and homegrown whatever kind of other, people that think the country should be fashioned in their ideological image. which is very much like, you know, what we were trying to not be, like the Islamic states of the Middle East, where they're like, our religion is going to be law. It's like, you see motherfuckers in America trying to say that. And this 22-year-old who probably doesn't know his ass from his elbow, you know, is now running things. And which sucks because ProPublica asked for an interview with him. And I'm saying, get him on tape, get him on camera. Does he have a YouTube channel? Let's hear what this kid has to say. Because maybe he's a well-spoken, well thought out, hardened, seasoned, weathered 22-year-old. But I don't know if Thomas Fugate is. Hello, Officer Lucy Chen. Why are you an officer, by the way? Officer of what? You a Fed? Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm trying to bring you information that maybe isn't on the radar. ProPublica, whatever they produce, you should read. Not saying we got to agree with it, but they do meticulous detailing of things that we should know. They are a good journalist site. And I linked the article down below. But what this really reminded me of, this Thomas Fugate, the new Department of Homeland Security leader of American terrorism prevention. He's 22 years old. And he just looks like, you know, he looks like he just saw the Ron Burgundy movie. What was that called? I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of that. I can't remember the name of the Ron Burgundy. It's from a show called The Rookie. Oh, I get it. Well, I don't get it, but I get what you're saying. What was the Ron Burgundy? A whale's vagina. What was the Ron Burgundy movie? Was it just called Ron Burgundy? It wasn't called Ron Burgundy, was it? But either way, this Thomas Fugate looks like he just saw the Ron Burgundy movie and took that photo for his official federal ID. Anchorman, thank you, Alma. Jesus, Anchorman. Oh my God. I called it the Ron Burgundy movie. Oh Christ, I'm getting old. And I saw that in theaters. Oh man. In San Diego, a whale's vagina, as it's loosely translated. But it feels like he just watched Anchorman and thought that was hilarious. He said, oh, this is a classic. This is one of those oldies that you can still get on DVD. You don't even stream it. You know, like this kid, this Thomas Fugate, who's leading the Department of Homeland Security's Terrorism Prevention Unit, is 22 years old. And immediately, my mind went back to, oh, didn't you see a documentary about Hitler's final days and how he opened the recruitment from like 18 to 55 or whatever the army, the fighting age is, the prime fighting age, 18 to 40 or whatever, 18 to 42. When Adolf was like, all right, we're going to expand the ranks a little. As long as you can walk till as long as you can not still walk. I was going to say not poop in your pants. But essentially, you know, Adolf said, we're really pressed for people. As long as you're not pooping your pants at the young age or the old age, we'll take you into the military. And Adolf's team of people who were 16 to 60 were called the Volksstrum. And it just I was like, Taco Don is like 150 days into his regime, and he's already pulling out the Volksstrum. He's already like, we're going to recruit 22-year-olds. Oh, and that was the other reason ProPublica said in the article down below. You can listen to it as well. They have an audio version, which after I read it a few times, I was listening to. But they were also saying, like, the other occurrence for this 22-year-old from Texas who worked for the Heritage Foundation and Trump's campaign got elevated to like a six-figure position with nothing on his resume besides like summer camp at the right-wing think tank. Was because when all the qualified people see what's going on and they're like, we don't want to take part of this, or they won't go along with the agenda, like I reported on last week, that the new hiring process that's going to start for the government, they did a hiring freeze. The hiring freeze ends on July 15th, and they said the new process to interview people is going to have them write 4 different essays on how they would further the MAGA, the Don Taco agenda. So they just want loyalists. They don't want people who, you know, are loyal to America as an idea, as a country, or democracy, or the Constitution. They don't want people taking an oath to that. They want people taking an oath to Taco Don. Don Taco. I believe they started enlistment at age 16 at that point in time. You might be right, Heather. So they opened it up. That's what I mean. The Volksstrum like opened up the ages that you could participate in the military because they were so pressed for people and people abandoning or people seeing like this is a losing battle. And that's what ProPublica, well, they didn't cite the Volksstrum, but that's what ProPublica was saying. Like, you know, at some point when all the qualified people who are like, oh, they don't care if you're educated and you're a specialist in this specific field, they just want people who are going to do what Don Taco says. And a lot of people who get to that qualification, it's like having a nurse, right? It's like if you're at the hospital and they only want nurses and doctors to do what the hospital CEO says. So if he's like, listen, you know, if your patient's dying, I really don't want to pull out any bullet wounds. We're not doing bullet wounds. We don't believe in that. So they would only hire nurses and doctors that were like, all right, we don't, you know, if you're shot, we're just going to patch it up. We don't pull the bullets out. Sorry, we don't do that here. It's like that, and that seems ludicrous, right? Because doctors take the Hippocratic oath, and nurses, you know, are there to heal people, irregardless of the scenario or what their higher ups say. Like they have an oath to the patient and to making sure people are here. And you're right, Orpheus. Good to see you again. Hit subscribe and the notification bell. And that's what this 22-year-old Thomas Fugate, his real name is Fugate, Fugazi, forget about it. But that's what Don Taco hiring this 22-year-old to be the head of prevention of terrorism in America. Like that's a serious, I wouldn't want that job. If they were like, you know, that's the other point of this Thomas Fugate. I was like, where are his parents? At 22, he should be bouncing these things off his parents. And even if my kid came to me and were like, this job pays $179,000. It's one of the highest paying jobs in the government. 6 figures, I'm going to be nice. I would be like, that you're not qualified. No, you asked to train under somebody who's done that for a while. Like you take a mentorship program that pays, no unpaid internship. And I blame this Thomas Fugate's parents. And I think these people should be held personally accountable if stuff goes wrong. Because if they're highly unqualified, it's like if Boeing started hiring pilots because the pilots were like, yeah, we're not going to say nothing about the bolts coming off. And they were like, can you fly a plane? They were like, no, but we keep our mouth shut. They were like, all right, you fly the plane. And then it crashed. They should be held liable. You have a fucking... you have a job to make sure you're hiring qualified people. I don't understand how this flies in America. Linda McMahon can't do simple math, and she's running the point. Orpheus, you're right. Orpheus is making the point. It's par for the course. But what I want to highlight too is like this Thomas Fugate's parents are a failure. Because if my kid came to me, and it didn't matter if they said I'm getting $1 million a year, I would say, listen, that job is too important. Too many people. Your soul is responsible for the souls of others. And if you're not qualified enough, ask them to take a lower paying job where you can train under somebody. Think about when you get a new job and you have to train with, you know, management or somebody who did the job before you. That training period is stressful because you want to get things right. As far as I know, they have no one training this dude. And this job is highly important in America, especially in today's America. And it shouldn't be par for the course, and we should reject this. That's why I'm bringing you this article from ProPublica. ProPublica. And, you know, I hope people... he's using the prefab buzzword. I'm sure the overlords are proud of you. What does that mean, Lisa Fleming? What was the prefabricated buzzword? Don Taco? Don Trump always chickens out? I don't know what the prefabricated buzzword is, but I highly encourage you to read the ProPublica article down below after you hit subscribe and the notification bell, because I do go live to bring you news and commentary on the news. More importantly, some sarcasm and some commentary. Because where are this kid's parents? His parents should have said, no, sorry, he can't be your terrorism prevention czar, Donald. We've grounded him. I mean, does this kid still live at home? Imagine that, the czar of terrorism prevention in the Don Taco regime still lives at home. Like, you have to at least be out of college, have a couple of jobs under your belt before you become the czar of terrorism prevention in America. That should be standard. And I'm all for young people getting into politics, but like have a mentor that's not a right-wing think tank, you know? He works for the Heritage Foundation. That's how he got this position, if anybody's wondering. He was heavily involved in the Trump campaign, and as long as you're loyal, you can do whatever you want. Half of the government is now Fox News pundits. Oh, we're fucked. We're fucked. And the parents. I blame the parents. How come you always hear about people blaming the parents? Where were the parents? Is the dad at home? Why aren't they saying it when kids get jobs like this? Why? Because the money's good? Who cares if it's 6 figures? This kid can't rent a fucking car, like Alma pointed out, if he has to travel from city to city to like investigate different counterterrorism things. If this kid travels from city to city, he's not even 25. He can't rent a car. What's he gonna get? An e-bike? This kid's gonna pedal up on an e-bike that he rented with his fucking Bitcoin app. He's gonna be like, I'm here. They'll be like, what are you? What, sir? You need to back up. This is a Thomas Fugate. You need to back up. This is a cordoned off scene. And he's gonna be like, no, man. I just can't rent a car. I had to rent an electric bike to get here. I'm very sorry, but I'm your boss actually. Welcome. What's up, Jacob? Good to see you. It's been a while. You're right. Hope you're doing well. Hope everything's going okay for you. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm Rob. I do commentary on the news, and we're talking about the ProPublica article about the 22-year-old who Donald Trump, Don Taco, hired as the Department of Homeland Security's terrorism prevention lead boss. He's like the main guy, 22-year-old guy. He's the thumbnail. Just look at his face. I could just look at his face and go, this kid, I mean, he probably still has his parents make him mac and cheese. And at that point, you shouldn't be, you know, I would not trust him to shut off the stove after he cooked. This kid, just the way he looks, and I hate to be an oldest or an ageist, because I think the presidency, you shouldn't be able to be president after the age of 55. I know they started at 35. I don't think after 55. I think from 25 to 55 is when you can be a politician. I think other than that, at 55, you're forced to retire. We'll give you a pension. We'll give you retirement. Get the fuck out of here. You're too old at that point. And at 22, I don't know, man. You know? I don't know. We need some interviews with this kid to see how weathered and seasoned vet he is. Oh, Gary Paulson coming in with the beta boy because I've upset him. Who's the real beta, though? Huh? Me or you? Because you're upset I called him Don Taco. I know that's what upset you. Rolling in the Pentagon break room with the pizza Lunchable. He's pulling up. He's like, anybody want to trade my snack pack from my... from my ring ding? Oh, that is hilarious. Everything's been on the up. I lost my place not long ago and my job. It's been while I've been gone. Oh, man. Hi, Jacob, I hate to say that is a more common occurrence in today's America than not. But keep your mind right. Keep pushing forward. I hope things come through for you. And take some time to read this ProPublica article, because it's jarring that because this kid worked at the Heritage Foundation, which is like a Koch brothers fake stat, you know, they pump out all these reports and horrific things to basically circumvent America's Constitution. They just want like things to be Christian nationalists, you know. They hate women. They're not. It's just, I don't understand these alt-right people who like don't like the Middle East because Islamic law, but they want Christian law over here. Like the hypocrisy and the irony of these people that, you know, love freedom, but as long as it's, you know, their religious law of freedom, it's just unreal. But he worked there. I think he went to like day camp there in the summers. And now, after working on the Trump campaign, this dude has been appointed, this 22-year-old has been appointed to head the Department of Homeland Security Terrorism Prevention Unit, which is a highly, highly important job. As you've seen, every month this year, we've had some kind of domestic terrorism thing happen. So you'd figure, well, you can't be serious putting a 22-year-old with no experience, just graduated University of San Antonio, in that position. But Don Taco doesn't care. As long as you're loyal to the crown, he doesn't care what your qualifications are, right? It's unreal. And to think, his parents allowed it. Because this kid's parents, if I was his parents, I would have said, nope, you're not allowed to take the job. I'm very sorry. You're going to take a lower position, you work your way up, but you are not prepared for that, okay? We know your secrets. We know you keep a light on in the hallway when you go to sleep. Oh, man. This isn't new, though. Look at the average age of the Doge team. Young people follow orders without question. You're right. 100% Orpheus. And the Doge team came in like a wrecking ball. They were probably listening to Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball. Unless that's too old for them. I don't know. And speaking of that, I actually, I wasn't going to talk about it, but I linked an article about the Doge team firing masses of government employees off of bad data. They didn't understand many things. That's a thing. Like if you've ever worked in, so I worked in radio for a long time, and you have to understand how these production programs work, these music editing, these sound editing programs. And if you don't understand it, you're basically going to sit at a keyboard and hit buttons until you hope something comes up. I mean, you could do YouTube tutorials, but without somebody walking you through that knows what is what, working these programs, it's like speaking a different language. And Elon brought these people in who, that's the weirdest thing. It's like he brought people in to find fraud, but they weren't qualified in fraud. They were like code writers, So it wasn't like they had any specialty in this, which is usually what you want. I mean, as somebody who has hired people before, you want people with a certain specialty to do that job. You don't want to be like, oh, you've mowed lawns before? Yes, we totally have you look for fraud in... You spend your summer mowing lawns to get money so you could build your own computer? Yeah, we're going to have you look for fraud in the government. Oh, you don't understand what the government does? Don't worry about it. It's very easy. Apparently, they used AI to make most of their firing decisions. Yeah, and Orpheus, there's a whole article detailed down below. I hope you guys read it, about how the whatever data they were using to the employee scores, they were apparently scoring employees, was faulty. So we're just going to keep finding out more and more of this, but it's good to bring it to people's attention. People need to be aware of this because the repercussions have not happened yet. It's like when you, when you do something that's going to have these effects that take time, you have to wait that period of time to find out what the real effects are going to be. If Gary's very successful, it's just weird. You see this all the time. These people brag, I'm very successful. That's why I like to shit on people less successful. I see that all the time. I'm very rich. That's why I'm so angry and love to hate on vulnerable people. It's so weird. And if you're successful, that's great, I fight for people to just be able to make a living wage, not stress about their rent, to have healthcare paid for by their taxes, for billionaires to pay their share fare. But if your thing is like, hey, those people who are struggling to get by, I like to poo-poo on them. I like to make the people who are already having a tough time, I like to make it harder for them. It's so funny because my definition of success isn't money. It's, being kind and loving others and trying to support people. Your definition of success is probably having a, fucking Mazda Miata in your driveway that's pristine, that you put the top down and you go cruising for chicks at 54. And listen, if money is your definition of success, God bless you, Gary. God bless you. And if your whole, I question how you've said betas and alpha 45 times in the chat, but success is, I'll say it's a fluid definition. I know that might offend you, but it really just seems, who said that? RF, that's what entitlement is. Yeah, it just seems like you're entitled. You're like, I'm successful, and if you're not, you just didn't have rich enough parents like I did, where I could live with them till I was 40 and then afford to buy my house because I could put everything into savings. I deal with people like this all the time, and it's always bewildering to me because I'm like, oh, are you religious? Or they'll bring up Jesus, and I'll be like, oh, it's so funny because Jesus would fucking hate you. If he came back, he'd be like, I don't know that guy. He ain't coming to dinner with me. I'm going to dinner with the prostitutes and the tax collectors and the assholes, and they have a chance for redemption. I'm going to go visit with the poor, the sick, the hungry, the needy, the children, all the vulnerable people. That's who I'm going to see. That motherfucker, don't know him. Nope, nope, nope. Be gone, Satan, as he said in the Bible. Gary, you're kind of a joke. Thanks for coming. Hit subscribe. Tomorrow you can talk again. As soon as you start making ladyboy jokes and stuff and you say alpha and beta 40 times in the chat, I know you're not here to actually contribute. But I would like to reach people, you know? I would like to reach people. And I would really like to reach the people who think they're successful, but their definition of success is strictly monetary. I own a whole house and a car. I work 100 hours a week for it. Oh, really? How do you feel about kids that are going hungry in America? Because 1 in 5 are food insecure. Fuck them! Well, that's a weird definition of success, isn't it? It's just that you got money? Oh, that's a weird definition. Yeah, those lazy, entitled kids don't want to pay for their school lunch. My parents gave me lunch money every day. What's wrong with that? It's like your definition of success is so fucked, my friend. And I wish you the best. I'm glad you're successful. Here's my point. I'm glad you don't have to struggle. But if you ever did, if you ever lost your job to AI and you lost your home and you lost your family, I would still fight for you. I wouldn't think that was personally on you as a human. I would look at the structural systems that have really failed us in a society that claims to be successful and wealthy. So just so you know. Oh, thank you, Jacob. One of my favorite shirts. Same generation that bought a house for yeah, the same generation. There's a Bernie Sanders tweet that's like, to go to college, to pay for college as a boomer, you had to work 400 hours a year. And now, to pay for college at this generation, you have to work 4,000 hours a year. Or it's like something, you know, that same equivalent. And I'm like, God, the fact that these people can't acknowledge, like, yo, the system got rigged. And how did it get rigged? Rich people bought the government and fashioned all the rules to benefit them. It's why this tax bill is trying to go through is going to give wealthy billionaires more of a tax cut. Corporations a permanent tax cut. It's why, like, our society is what it is. It has nothing to do with gay people, immigrants, people different than you, black folk. It has nothing, like, that shit ain't going to change that corporations are buying homes at an alarming rate, that they're not paying taxes at an alarming rate. And if you are one of the people that goes, well, then the billionaires will leave, I say good riddance and don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, billionaires. Go to a different country. Go meddle in other people's shit, because you've proven you cannot be responsible with your money. Look at Elon Musk. All right, guys, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll try to go live again later. I gotta go do some stuff. God bless you. Much love. Peace.